Hey everybody, welcome to zlatanobojmtg. This is Alex, and today we're doing another deck tech. And the deck under the microscope today is Noah's Rakdos Aggro.
Yeah, it's sort of Rakdos Aggro. Yeah.
So where do you want to start from there, pal?
We'll start low cost. Tormented Hero, one of which very kindly donated by you.
The promo,
which is absolutely sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Thrilled to get that.
So
for free. But yeah, Tormented Hero, 1 mana, 2/1, comes in tapped, but has the heroic of basically the extort mechanic on heroic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, lose 1, gain 1. He's just great to come out.
It's like extort that you never have to think about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and there's not many ways to trigger the heroic on him, but when the things that will trigger heroic, one of which is Herald of Torment, one of which is Madcap Skills, we'll talk about later in the spells, it is relevant.
Well, I suppose a 2/1 for 1 is good, which is why they put he enters the battlefield tapped, which is bad. But then that has its own good side.
Yeah, he doesn't look impressive as a 2/1. 2/1 doesn't look that impressive that it comes in tapped. But on turn 2, if you are on curve hitting into Madcap Skills, it's swinging for 6 that they probably aren't going to be able to block.
We'll have to do some major discussion about Madcap Skills when we get to it, because
it pretty much is what runs this deck.
Spoilers.
Madcap Skills is in here. It's a 4 for a reason. Anything you put it on, it makes instantly better.
Yeah.
But Tormented Hero, you can't really say much other than else than add Madcap Skills to it, and it's amazing. Otherwise, it's either a blocker or just someone to niggle away for a bit of damage.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Rakdos Aggro, really. I mean, having a 1/1/2/2 on the Unleash, which is I will unleash most of the time.
Yeah. What kind of circumstances are you not going to unleash it?
If late game I see a board of things without trample that I just cannot afford to take damage from, I won't unleash it.
Right.
There's not many times that happens. There's not many times I will not unleash a Rakdos Aggro.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, a 1/1 just chump block is fine late game if you need it. But otherwise, usually I'm playing one of these. I'm getting one in my opening hand. Usually a 1-drop creature. So usually he's swinging for 2 at least on turn 2.
So opening hand, you've got a Tormented Hero and a Rakdos Aggro.
Yeah.
What do you go with?
If I have Madcap Skills, Tormented Hero.
Okay.
Without Madcap Skills, Rakdos Aggro, simply for the fact that 1 hits for. I mean, if you do have say for example, I've got Madcap Skills in hand and I decide to go with Cackler, that only hits for 5.
Yeah.
Whereas Tormented Hero hits for 5, but also has the heroic triggered ability. So you do actually game 1. You basically start the game on 21. They start on 14.
Yeah. Well,
so
which is awesome.
It's a good start. So Tormented Hero if I have Madcap Skills. Otherwise, Rakdos Aggro every time. And with Exava, Rakdos Blood Witch, which we'll talk about in a bit. It can come in as a 2/2 haste creature, which can be relevant at times. It really can. You wouldn't think a 2/2 haste that can't block is going to be relevant, but in this sort of build where the curve is so low, you'll really have a lot of creatures out.
It just works perfectly for what the deck wants to do, which is
just smash.
Hey, throw your face.
I mean, we're going to play a game with our 2 decks, the Gruul deck that you have and this Rakdos deck. We've not played against each other before with those.
Not with as they are now.
No. But I mean, as you know, this is top forward FNMs. You were at the FNM and I top forward with this. It has the ability to do a serious amount of damage.
I know that if I can stave you off till like turn 4, I'm in with a shot. But if you're gonna kill me, you probably kill me by then.
Yeah, there are times where this can win by turn 4. If I have enough Madcap Skills and enough low drop creatures, it's pretty much game over.
It's crazy. So on to Thrill Kill Assassin.
Yeah, one of the weird ones in this deck.
Yeah, you're feeling a bit contentious about this.
I am. I've seen a fair few lists like this that are Rakdos Aggro, and not many people run Thrill Kill Assassin. I think it is one of the most important creatures in the deck. There is no doubt about it for me. A 1/2 for 2 mana with Death Touch would be great anyway. Not necessarily in standard, but the fact you can unleash it does help in this deck, again with giving haste later on in the game in the Exava, but also just to swing with as a 2/3 with Death Touch is...
Nobody's going to want to trade with it.
No one's going to want to trade with a 1/2 Death Touch or a 2/3 Death Touch for 2 mana. It's not an expensive card. People don't expect Thrill Kill to be in a deck like this either. They're not expecting to have to face it. If it has to sit back, it will sit back as a blocker. And if it has to go forward to pump through even a little bit of damage because they don't want to lose their creatures, then it's great. For example, if I'd be playing your sort of deck with the Caryatids, the Sylvan Caryatids, you wouldn't really want to block because you'd lose a mana source. And a lot of the metagame right now, as you said, we were talking before, that Sylvan Caryatid is one of the best cards in Standard.
Yeah.
Most decks are going to be running it. I'd say the majority, especially recent.
I think if you're playing green, there's really no reason.
And most of the recent Pro Tour decks, I think 4 or 5 of them were Selesnya coloured. With Brimaz and things like that. You don't want to lose a Brimaz to Thrill Kill. You don't want to lose a Sylvan
You don't want to lose anything to Thrill Kill Assassin because it's
a cheap, shitty creature.
I think psychologically you think there's no way I am putting my my Stormbreath Dragon to the sword by this thing.
No, exactly. So it's going to ping.
So it's going to keep getting 1 damage through and then
and pretty much every creature. 6 creatures in this deck, of all of which are 4 counts, are 2-powered creatures. I mean, I always count Rakdos Aggro as a 2-powered creature, pretty much, and I will most of the time count Thrill Kill Assassin as a 2-powered creature.
Right. So enough explaining why Thrill Kill Assassin makes the grade.
Yep.
Ash Zealot. I mean, this doesn't really need a lot of explaining.
No, first strike haste is amazing.
2/2 for 2 with 2 ace abilities.
Yeah, 2 ace abilities. I mean, the whenever player casts a spell from the graveyard isn't really relevant now.
That doesn't happen much.
It was to hose Snapcaster Mage when it was brought out.
Uh-huh.
That's why it's there. But because Snapcaster Mage is just insane. But the only downside to this is the 2 red cost. However, don't struggle with that too much.
But this is something we'll talk about when we get into Shred Freak.
Yeah, but I feel that the Ash Zealot is just the first strike and haste ability as a 2/2 is just so good.
Yeah.
And if there is a way for someone to cast things from graveyards, you don't want to do it. The first strike thing's incredible. When Madcap Skills is on this thing, with it having haste as well, like turn 4, if you've got Madcap Skills and Ash Zealot, you're hitting him for that. If you just pull Madcap the turn after, you're going to put it on Ash Zealot because even if they can block it, first strike with 5 damage is going to pretty much kill anything it hits.
I think with it being first strike as well and such a low cost.
Yeah.
Most players, if you put it down, most players are going to think, right, how am I going to get rid of this?
Yeah, it's a target.
Their priority will straight away be, right, I need to get rid of that Ash Zealot. Because if I leave it, it's going to start causing mischief.
But that's the thing, that all this top row of creatures are either 1 cost or 2 cost creatures. They're going to be coming out on curve most of the time, but as soon as someone sees an Ash Zealot, they will ignore the rest of these creatures and go for the Ash Zealot. That's been my thing most of the time. I played a Boros Burn deck at the FNM where I came in the top 4 when you were there.
Yep.
And he was pretty much taking out the Ash Zealot every time, ignoring these 3, ignoring Shred Freak, ignoring Mogis Marauder when it comes out, which we'll get onto later, which is absolutely insane.
Yeah, this is another one where you feel like you need to explain yourself.
Yeah, I will do. The next 2 are things I need to explain. These first 4, maybe also Thrill Kill Assassin I need to explain a bit, but these 3 for sure, not really.
Easy peasy. Easy
peasy. It's obvious why Ash Zealot's in there. Also counts towards good devotion for Mogis.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk about later.
Now, I'll pose a question to you before you begin.
Here we go.
Rakdos Shred Freak.
Yeah.
Why not, for the same cost, use the same card with 3 power, which is Spike Jester? This is a 2/1. Spike Jester is technically not the same cost.
Yeah.
It's black red with haste 3/1. Is this mana fixing in the hybrid symbols really worth?
Yes, for me it is. I want to be on curve. I understand Ash Zealot's not going to be the easiest to cast on curve. Yeah. Unless you're lucky and you pull Blood Crypts or you've got the Temples turn 1, but Rakdos Shred Freak is castable. It is castable every turn.
Well, as long as you've hit 2 lands.
As long as you've hit 2 lands, which I will. I don't keep anything less than 2 lands, but I do keep on 2 lands because I can just keep pumping things out on 2 lands. Rakdos Shred Freak is always going to be available.
Yeah.
If I had 2 red, Spike Jester is not available. If I have 2 black, Spike Jester is not available. Rakdos Shred Freak is available. Plus, also, I mean, it sounds weird, people don't really want to block this thing simply for the fact it's only 2 damage.
Yeah.
It's not 3. If someone sees a 3 damage creature, it needs to be blocked because it's 3 damage, and 3 damage is one of those things which sounds great. It's why Lightning Bolt is such an insane spell, but Shock isn't an insane spell.
There is kind of like, there's like a line that's crossed at that point.
As soon as you go from 2 to 3 damage, people are worried. 2 damage, I'll take 2. Doesn't seem that innocuous until you've been smashed in the face by a lot of these things, and then suddenly you're losing 8, 10, whatever. those are the main two reasons I do use it. I have a feeling at some point I will actually stick Spike Jester in the sideboard. We'll look at sideboard later on.
Yeah.
One particular card I think I might take out is Timer at the Murder King. He has come up and done a little bit of work, but I think if extra aggro is needed, I would prefer to play Spike Jester.
Justification complete.
Yes.
Mogus's Marauder.
Mogus's Marauder, main boarded, despite black being one of the most powerful archetypes in the game.
Yep.
He does give himself haste. He's a 2/2 haste for 3, if you want to see it that way.
This might not be a card that many people are completely aware of, so let me just...
yeah, sure.
When Mogus's Marauder enters the battlefield, up to X target creatures each gain Intimidate and haste
Yeah.
until end of turn, where X is your devotion to black.
Yeah.
So it is good.
It's very good. And my devotion to black, obviously, is 1 there, 1 there, 1 there, none here, but 2 here.
Yes.
So if I'm playing anything first, there is devotion to be had early on in the game, going into Mogus Marauder. And usually the turn I play him, I will be swinging with the whole team, with haste, with Intimidate. And I've played, most of the decks I've played have not been running black. I don't know if this is simply our meta game around here. Black doesn't seem like it's that popular.
Black comes and goes.
It comes and goes, but when I've played down at Two Fat Goblins and at Shogun Games, shout out, hashtag, black doesn't seem as popular. And because of that, Mogus Marauder is main decked. It gives itself haste, which is great. Intimidate also, I mean, if people are playing red, Ashzella gets through. Even if they are playing black, Ashzella gets through. And if that's, pumped up with a Madcap Skills, that's 5 damage they can't block. So it's the Intimidate is great, the haste is great. It's just, I mean, late game as well. If you've just had your Mogus God of Slaughter triggered, if that's come out on the play and been triggered, and Exarva, intimidate for these guys. If they're not playing those colours, is pretty much a game-winning thing. Most of the time, sorry, interrupt you like an absolute rude bitch.
No, that's cool.
But usually when it comes out, it's going to win the game if they're not playing black.
I've got first-hand experience of Mogus Marauder in this deck.
Yes.
And it
sucks, doesn't it?
It threw me for a loop, let's say.
Same with Thrill Kill Assassin. No one's expecting Mogus's Marauder to be main decked.
It's specifically because no one does. That kind of makes it a better choice.
This is what this deck's about. It's the lack of expectancy.
Because if I see a pack rat, I need to get rid of that pack rat within the next turn or two. If I see a Mogus Marauder, I'm thinking, I don't know, okay.
But then you've been hit by the time you've even had a chance to think about it. But also, if it sticks around, it does add to devotion. Yeah. It is a 2/2 body. It's fine to add a Madcap Skills or a Herald of Torment to. It's fine to block. It's just good. It's just all round good.
I suppose, you haven't really got time to react to it before it's done its damage as well, because you're not using it for a 2/2 for 3.
No.
So Herald of Torment.
Yeah, this guy's great. 3/3 flying for 3 mana, 2 devotion towards Mogus as well with the double black, which by turn 3 is going to be pretty possible with the amount of jewels I've got in here, which is the full 8, and the rest of the land. It's going to be pretty possible, unless it's been really sucky. At the beginning of my upkeep, I do lose 1 life. This deck does not care about life in the slightest. If you're not caring about life and just smashing in for as much as you can, it's so much easier than just to sit and worry and, should I attack with this, should I attack with this? Just hit, just go through. If you guys want to make this deck, seriously, don't ever hold back. Just smash through. Most of the time you're going to win. A 3/3, 4/3 flying anyway is just absolutely insane for the drawback of 1 life. If you play this and attach your Madcap Skills to it, you're hitting for 6 in the air. Yeah. I mean, that's just ridiculous. And then bestowing, only 2 turns later.
Do you bestow it often?
I do. I mean, this curve, I've won so many games, curving 1, 2, 3, 4 with Exarva, or Mogus, 5 bestowing Herald of Torment. And he is honestly one of the sweetest top decks late game. Yeah. You have no idea. I had Exarva, Rakdos Bloodwitch on the field against someone. I was on 2. They were on, I can't remember how much, but it basically finished the game. I top-decked Herald of Torment, bestowed it, and he just scooped, shook my hand and said, well played. There's no way. I mean, a first strike, on Exarva, first strike haste with flying, with an extra 3/3, but it was, unleashed as well, so it's a 7/7 flying first strike haste. It's not going to be it's nowhere near, you're not going to be able to get to it. If it's on Mogus, after the turn 4, obviously, because it does still count to your devotion if it's bestowed. Yeah. an indestructible flyer.
And of course, you haven't really got anything else to do with 5 mana in this deck.
No, that's the thing. I mean, it tops out at 4 creature-wise. No spells are above 2 that are main-boarded at least. And Herald of Torment is only the 3 of option to go above 4.
Yeah.
And if it happens, you're pretty much winning the game.
So the common consensus is that after rotation, everyone's going to get well on board Herald of Torment.
Yes, Desecration Demon goes out. Herald of Torment comes in. Master of Feasts comes in.
Yeah.
They're going to be the 2 big things. Master of Feasts is something I actually do want to play around with in this deck because it's just huge.
I drafted it and it's surprisingly good.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't really care about opponents drawing a card. I really don't.
No, because
I don't care. Because I can hit you.
You've got 5 in the air.
It doesn't matter. And if I'm playing Herald of Torment as well, I can even bestow that later on onto that and make it even bigger flyer. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
I'm going to be hitting. So Master of Feasts is something I'm going to think about playing in this deck, but I wouldn't be taking out Herald of Torment at all. Probably Mogis Marauder if I was going to be anything, because black might come and go, as you say. But yeah, Herald of Torment is going to see standard play, a lot more standard play. I mean, it does see standard play, obviously, but it's going to see a hell of a lot of standard play. It's going to jump up in value.
Next is one of my favourite artworks.
Oh, it's stunning.
In standard at the moment.
I mean, it's on the back of my sleeves for this deck.
That's how good it is.
And on my deck box. Seriously getting on board with Exava, Rakdos Bloodwitch.
Check her out.
She's so good. I mean, people say, why are you running this?
Oh, mate,
I
know why you're running this.
Are you seriously asking me this question? 4 mana for a 4/4. Again, I'm probably going to unleash pretty much 95% of the time. First strike, haste, 4/4 for 4 mana.
Yeah.
Oh my god. And having each, the passive ability of having each other creature with a 1/1 counter having haste, that gives you Rakdos Cackler later game, Thrillkill Assassin later game. No, only really those 2 creatures, but still, a Death Touch flying at you and an extra 2/2 you have to think about blocking is irrelevant.
I love Exava.
And even if you're not going to unleash it, the couple of times I'm not going to unleash it, 3/3 first strike, just to sit back and soak up a bit of damage and block is fair as well for 3 mana, for 4 mana, sorry, but the 3 power. It doesn't really need to be spoken about much more than that. It's really good.
It's just a good card.
I think it is one of the cards you have to play to really understand how good it is, or have it played against you.
Yes.
Because it is just stunning. When it's out there, it does absolutely work. It really does. It's only a 2 of simply the fact it's legendary.
Yeah, I suppose that's the only thing working against it is this legendary, but it's good enough to be legendary.
I did initially play 3, and it showed up too much with the legendary. Sometimes I ended up having 2 in my hand. Yeah. And once I played 1, the other one was dead, and I couldn't really play it until the other one died, which doesn't happen a lot. Because obviously, if you are unleashing, it gets out of the range of that sort of 3 damage as well that most creatures either deal or spells deal. Yes. With a couple of exceptions, Mizzy Mortars, etc. Yeah. So yeah, she's just great.
Mogis, God of Slaughter.
One of my favourite cards in standard right now. I think we were discussing earlier. I think it is one of the best gods.
It's top tier god.
I think it's stunning. I think it's a stunning card. 4 mana it's a 7/5 for 4 mana, indestructible. It is going to come online most of the time. I mean, this is one of the dual colour gods that needs 7 devotion to either its colours. It's going to come online most of the time. I have so many low drops and so much double coloured devotion everywhere that it is going to get online very quickly.
Some gods, if people play them against me, I sort of glance and just think, okay, that's there. I can sort of deal with that when I've got to deal with it. It's not an immediate threat. Yeah. Like Perforos, when he comes down, I'm kind of thinking, okay, 2 when they play a creature, blah, 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 blah. But when Mogis comes down, I know that every turn I'm going to have to make a horrible choice.
Yeah, the horrible choice being either do you take 2 damage to is it player or
2 damage to that player,
2 damage to that player, or you have to sack a creature. And there are
which puts you on the back foot in both instances, because against this deck, 2 life is a big deal.
You don't think 2 life's a lot. Seriously, it is. It's pretty much like you're being hit by an extra creature.
So, yeah, you have to make a horrible choice.
Yeah, I've played games where people are saying, I could take the 2 damage, but then next turn he's going to hit me with a lot of creatures. So it's going to add to the extra damage that I'm being smashed into. Or do I sack a creature, but then I'm losing less blockers to block his creatures. All these 2 power creatures that are very easy to deal with, but just number themselves up so much, make this decision even worse, because They can sack a creature and have less blockers, as I said, and they can take an extra 2 damage, which is basically being hit by an Ash Zealot or a Shred Freak or a Cackler or a Tormented Heroes, but like you're being hit again by a creature.
It's a good card anyway, but in this deck, it's made for this kind of deck. I think it
Yeah.
really sets it off because
It really does.
you're going to have taken some damage by the time it comes out.
Yeah.
Almost guaranteed.
Yeah.
You're going to have taken some, so you don't really want to be taking more every turn. But then
No.
you get rid of if you're sacrificing creatures, then you're losing all your blockers, and it's bad times all around.
It is.
Indestructible as well. So.
Indestructible, and the devotion, as I say, gets online so quick. 2, 2, 2. If you've got those 3 out,
I mean,
you're already at 6. You just
nearly
need
there.
1 drop or 1 creature with 1 mana symbol in its cost.
And then,
but most of the time, you're going to have a Herald out. You're going to have a Cackler out. You're going to have a Shred Freak or 2 out. You might even have Exava out.
If Mogis starts swinging, that's game.
It's game. It really is game.
It's got to be. Because the situation that you're in up to that point to get him there...
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's bad.
If I've got to turn 4 and you're not dead, you're probably going to die in the next couple of turns, if not the next turn, because Mogis will be online.
Well, so that's the creatures. What's the creature count, by the way, just as we're here? 4, 8, 12, 16...
It's pretty high. There's only 8 spells.
Right.
We've got 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32. So it's higher than usual, but it needs to be higher than usual because this deck's all about smashing face. It works well.
Smashing face.
It is just what Rakdos do best, and that is just hurt people endlessly. There's only 8 spells, main board. There's obviously a lot of sideboard spells. In fact, I don't even think, other than Timer, I actually run creatures in sideboard.
Right.
Out of 15, I run 13 non-creature.
You're pretty confident.
elements.
Pretty confident with your creature selection.
I am. I think the creature selection's good. I think it works. I think it speaks for itself. Barring a few perhaps things where I just prefer certain aspects, Rakdos, Shred Freak, Thrill Kill, Mogis Marauder.
Yeah.
Those are my personal sort of bits into the deck. Otherwise, this is a sort of usual shell.
Hey man, that's what makes it yours.
Yeah, that's what makes it mine.
We're back, and it's land and spells. Not enough spells to talk about on their own.
No, not main board.
Um,
If you want to talk about sideboard spells, we're here all day. But I mean, we'll go over those very quickly when we do.
First thing to mention, a full set of Zendy lands. You suave git.
Yeah, we've got. Let's do lands first. Let's get that one out of the way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
7
swamps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Very
7
simple.
mountains.
Yeah, the mana curve is pretty close. The only reason there's not as many swamps. Sorry, there is more black in the deck. Is because of these thingamajigs here, and is also because Ash Zealot's a 2 red.
At this point in standard, you don't really need to justify running shocks and scries. Everybody runs shocks and scries.
Here we go. We've got 4 temples, 4 blood crypts. I bought the blood crypts actually.
Really?
A full set of blood crypts I bought. Traded all for the Templar Mass, apart from one actually I pulled in the pack. But I bought all the blood crypts because I tried and failed to make a red black modern deck.
Yeah.
So this one's they're there now.
Right.
I have so many black and red jewels from that failed deck. It's unreal.
So try and explain to me how you can run Madcap Skills in your deck and not be a soulless husk.
I am a soulless husk.
It's a horrible, horrible spell to play against.
It is. That's why I play it. Otherwise I wouldn't play it. It's pretty much good on anything you put it on. Let's put it that way.
Enchanted creature gets +3/+0 and can't be blocked except by 2 or more creatures.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
As I was saying earlier, if you took away the can't be blocked by 2 or more creatures thing, it would still be good. Like, it wouldn't be standard playable. It'd be very high and limited in draft. Still.
So what rarity bracket did they put it in, considering it's so good?
I think they put it in uncommon.
No, it's common, mate.
It's a common.
It's common.
Yeah, it's a common. And this is why at Gatecrash pre-release I managed to get loads of these. I went Boros, I held Aurelia, who was giving me double combats with this thing is pretty much game over. But anyway, I digress. This thing in standard is absolutely brutal. This thing in this deck is absolutely insane.
Very much the backbone of this deck.
It is. That's why it's a 4 of. If it doesn't come up in my opening hand, I'm probably going to mulligan.
Yeah.
Because I want to be Tormented Hero or Cackler into this.
Yeah.
I mean, it is just insane.
Nobody's
insane.
Nobody's really going to have an answer on turn 2.
No.
You're not going to have 2 creatures to block with. You're going to have to take that.
Either 6 or 5.
You have to take that 6 or 5 to the face.
Yeah, and then next turn, again, if you can't get anything,
another 6 or 5.
It's another 6 or 5, or you can double block and lose both your creatures and my other 2 get through.
Which
is going to be 4 anyway, so it's up to you. But by that time you're going to be on at least 11, maybe 10, depending on what happens. If you can't block, then you're going to be on lower.
Once the gameplay video of us playing comes on, you'll I think it'll become very apparent very quickly why this is so good.
I mean, you never know, you might actually batter me.
Moving on to...
Yeah, basically, it's good on anything you put it on.
Yeah.
Anything you put it on is going to be amazing. Play it. And any deck that's playing red, play it.
So, we already went over this in my deck tech for the Gruul Monsters. Why... I mean, I don't want to know, but someone might.
Yeah.
All the reds burn in the world. Why Mizzium Mortars?
4 damage.
4.
2.
Yeah.
Sorcery speed, so what?
Doesn't matter.
So what?
It's good.
Yeah, it's good. If I'm always going to be playing creatures, if I have to play a spell, it doesn't need to be instant. It does not need to be instant. I'm going to be playing 2 drops most of the time anyway, creature-wise, but if something's in the way, I'll just Mizzium Mortars it and play that next turn.
The most useful things I've found in my deck, maybe it's not quite as much in yours, but actually Mizzium Mortars stands out when it gets overloaded.
Yeah, there's not many times it will get overloaded for me.
It's won me the game a few times though.
But when I have overloaded, as I'm about to say, it wins. Because of the amount of creatures I've got out, if you get rid of all their blockers, which is most things are going to die. Pretty much my entire, in fact everything bar Mogis himself would die to Mizzium Mortars. So if someone Mizzium Mortars me, I'm screwed. Usually if you're going to get Mizzium Mortars overloaded, you're screwed.
Yes.
I mean, even if it's not going to kill everything, it's 4 damage marked on anything that's big anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's probably going to die. There's not much that's more than 6.
Even against like token decks, it puts them back to square one.
Yeah.
I played somebody who was running an Assemble the Legion deck, and that's kind of where Mizzium Mortars overloaded doesn't work, is because they are just gonna, fill the field again next turn. But I mean, it helps.
It does help.
There isn't really many times when Mizzium Mortars isn't a good spell.
No. Overloaded or just its normal 2 cost, it's good. That's why it's rare. It wouldn't be rare if it wasn't.
Nope.
It's great. Sorcery speed, if it was instant, this would be a mythic.
If it was instant, it would be too good.
If it was instant, it wouldn't be even printed. Let's put it that way. It is still brilliant at sorcery speed. It is the best red removal in the format. Possibly one of the best removal spells in the format, in my opinion.
Ooh.
That was...
Big talk.
Big talk. That, honestly, I genuinely think that. After playing it, I genuinely think that I've got 1 extra in the sideboard. 3 seems fine to me, though there's not often I want to play removal because I don't care. I just don't. That's Rakdos.
Well, so that's the spells and land, but since this didn't take long and your sideboard is showable, shall we show your sideboard?
Let's go for it.
Cool. Welcome back again. So this is your sideboard, dude.
Yep, 15 cards, all of which, apart from 2, are spells and 1 artifact.
And one of them is one of my favourite cards, but we'll get around to that in a second. So
let's start with the creature, who is probably going to be the first thing to get removed from the sideboard when I relook at it.
Okay.
He's okay. Tyrant the Murder King, 1 black, 1 red. 1/1 red, sack a creature, deal 2 damage to target player. 1/1 black, sack a creature, return him to your hand. That's the downside, doesn't come back to the field. I think he should, for being a rare. He's a 2/2, which is okay on curve if you need him to. But it's the same thing as Spike Jester. This is why he's sideboarded. If he comes up late game and I can just ping loads of if I can't get through for actual damage, then he's decent to sideboard. If I know someone's playing very heavy defense, I will probably sideboard Timer it in.
This gets over like Defender, mill decks, stuff like that.
Because I can just play as many as creatures as I can, sack with as much mana as I can. The next turn do the same.
With the amount of baby little creatures, I mean, you could be putting you could put a Rakdos Cackler down for 1 and then just instantly sack it.
Yeah, that's 2 damage there. No, it's 3 mana, 2 damage, but if it needs to happen, it needs to happen.
Late game, it's
it's okay. There's not much more that needs to be said about it. It is probably going to be the first thing to be taken out.
Okay.
Probably for Spy Jester or Master of Feasts.
Yeah.
Depending on which one I decide to play. I mean, although I wouldn't mainboard Spy Jester for the mana cost, I think it's better to side in if I need extra creatures to push through.
Yes, if you're racing against other aggro, I suppose.
So now I'll let you go on to your favourite card.
I absolutely love Rakdos' Return.
Why so?
Mythic sorcery. For one, I really like the fact that it's mythic. I love the X costs in it. Rakdos' Return deals X damage to target opponent. That player discards X cards. This wins games, mate.
The reason it's in there is because if I know for a fact, again, if I'm playing defensive decks, very heavy defense, I know for a fact that I'm going to be stalled. I'm going to be playing creatures, but I'm also going to be getting a lot of mana. When Rakdos Return shows up, I can just deal them damage to the face and make them get rid of answers to my board.
Yeah.
I mean, even though I might not be able to put through for damage, it's there to deal the damage I would be dealing anyway, plus it makes them lose their answers. And a lot of the time when those defensive decks are blue-white, also in regards to, I can remember testing this deck actually with one of my friends, and he Sphinx's revved for the same amount that I Rakdos returned him. So he drew cards, gained life. I said, no, you didn't. That never happened.
It's a cool card. I really like Rakdos.
Yeah, I mean, it's the opposite of Sphinx's Revelation.
It's, I mean, I'd hate it if you used it against me.
It was funny. It was really funny when this happened. But, I mean, it is horrible. If it happens, it's usually in a game where I'm going to be behind.
Yeah.
It's there if I'm struggling.
So what kind of deck would you board this in against? I mean, you already kind of covered it.
Mostly blue-white, possibly green-white.
Uh-huh.
Simply the fact that green-white tokens with populating and things like that, and central tokens and all these sorts of things. I have played against a couple of those decks. Rakdos Return, getting rid of those options for people to populate, for people to add more tokens down to fuel the sort of big tokeny generated decks. Is good.
If anyone's got a plan, you've just ruined it, basically.
Yeah, you do. So that's why it works well, especially with I find it works even better now. Scry's in. People are trying to set things up.
Yeah.
Then he's like, oh, okay, you draw what you like, because I'm going to Rakdos Return you.
Yeah.
And if you're desperately scrying and you've only got 1 or 2 cards in your hand, I only have to cast this for 4, and your whole plan is ruined.
Yeah.
If you're only 2 cards that you've been saving, or you top deck something when you can't play it this turn, I'm going to Rakdos Return it out of your hand before you can use it. Evil beast, but that is Rakdos himself.
Dreadbore. So presumably, if you see a Planeswalker, you're going to think,
next game probably, yeah.
I'm probably going to side in my Dreadbores.
I was going to play 3 of these inside, probably taking out the Mizium Mortars, and playing 3 Dreadbores for the fact that there's so many good Planeswalkers around at the moment.
If you side it in, you're going to want to see it, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. So, but you know, I can always, trade out a couple of creatures for it. Usually it's going to be Mogis Marauder that I do trade out. Because it's situational. Situationally, most of the time it's good, but if it's not, then it's there to be traded out for extra removal or extra things.
Yeah.
But Dreadbore there for Planeswalkers really. Destroying creatures is fine, but it is there for Planeswalkers, which I do kind of struggle against, especially like Jace, that stops my creatures from dealing as much damage.
Yeah.
I think its top ability, giving -1 to creatures that are attacking, does stop me from doing things. So I really do struggle against Planeswalkers. So if I see a Jace, I will side in Dreadboard, probably second game.
Another Miz Mortars?
Yeah, another one. If it needs to be there for the full set, it's just good removal. I mean, obviously you can see most of the side is removal, all but 3 cards.
Yeah.
I mean, this is sort of removal of life and cards.
Yeah.
But it's not actual removal, if you know what I mean. But yeah, Mizium Mortars, if I'm playing a very heavy creature deck, I'll probably side one in for something.
I'd say that's pretty
just to sort
move.
of get through. Yeah.
So we get on to the first instant spell.
Yeah, not many instants.
No, and that would be Magma Jet, 3 of.
Yeah, Magma Jet, 2 cost, 2 damage, and Scrying 2.
Scry 2's
If it was
cool.
Scry 1, it wouldn't be there.
No.
Scry 2 lets me dig, lets me hit the curve. It's 2 damage if I'm playing a mirror match, which I've only played 1 of.
Yeah.
Most of the creatures, as you know, are 2 power creatures.
Oh, this would bust up the.
It busts
the mirror
it
match.
and lets me set for a further turn. I mean, that's as well. I mean, Magma Jet's just simple to really talk about. You move on to Barblight down there, and that's very similar. You know, if in the mirror match, it's going to kill pretty much everything. Tokens, it kills pretty much every token.
Kills tokens. It kills pack rats before they get crazy.
I love it against pack rats.
Oh,
I love
brilliant.
it against pack rats. Absolutely joyous.
So if somebody hits that 3rd pack rat and they're or the 3rd sort of token, and they're thinking, oh yeah, it's all starting to turn around. They're still in Bile-Blight range.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful feeling because they've just discarded 2 of their cards to basically do that much. I love that it's brilliant that it's instant speed as well.
Yeah, I think it's great. If it's sorcery, it'd still be good, but because it's instant, it's even better.
Yes.
yeah, it works. It works great.
It's good. It doesn't feel too bad just to use Bioblight to remove one creature either.
No, it doesn't. 2 mana for -3/-3 is okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's not prohibitive in any way. You're not feeling bad about it because if you need to get rid of a creature, you need to get rid of a creature.
Yeah. Pithing Needle, which everyone talks about but nobody seems to play.
Yeah, it's a one-off for certain things. It's basically there to annoy people and to stop certain things from doing certain things.
What would you consider a good target for Pithing Needle?
My main target, if I'm playing this, would be Pelucranos.
Yep.
He is absolutely deadly in like a ramp gruely sort of build. Don't you dare get ideas because I'll side this fucker in. Monstrosity with that guy, just dealing damage across my board of very low powered, low toughness creatures really sucks when he gets monstrous. I'm fine with him being a 5/5.
Yeah.
Because you can only block one of my creatures and the rest will be getting through. But if he's getting monstrous, it pretty much wipes me. So Pithing Needle to stop him using his activated ability. Also cards like Pack Rat, which are really annoying.
Yeah.
Like I know it only stops one Pack Rat, but you know at least it stops one Pack Rat out of a couple. So it's there really to stop monstrous, if I'm being honest.
Gruesome art as well. Or like I should say the idea of the art.
I hate the artwork because that's my phobia.
It's grim.
Someone
sticking a needle in your brain?
Not anywhere. Not necessarily the brain, just anywhere.
Just before we move on, does Pithing Needle affect Planeswalkers?
I believe it does off the top of my head.
Oh, that's pretty useful.
Off the top of my head, it does. But I've never had to use it against Planeswalkers because I wouldn't know.
I'm sure if we're wrong, somebody will
someone
let us
tells
know.
in the comments.
And then finally, it's Doomblade.
Yeah.
Pretty standard, pretty cool, pretty versatile removal.
Yeah.
Everyone loves to hate.
Yeah. Dice of Doomblade.
That's the Doomblade indeed. Everything in my deck does.
Yeah.
There's not a lot to say about Doomblade really. I love the artwork. And
Artwork's so cool.
There's an extended artwork that I saw in the Reddit
when he does the whole thing down?
Yeah,
that's cool.
That's really cool.
People ask, and I think you were asking me earlier as well, why this isn't mainboarded if Mogis Marauder is mainboarded. Because Mogis Marauder obviously doesn't affect black, and nor does Doomblade, so why aren't you playing Doomblade if you're going to play Mogis Marauder? You know what? I prefer creatures. It's as simple as that. I want more creatures, and a lot of the time, Mogis Marauder, if he is gonna do his job, is gonna win the game.
Yeah.
And I would rather have a creature than I would a Doomblade. I can't. I'd rather have a 2/2 creature with haste, giving himself haste, than not being able to Doomblade something.
Yes.
Having a Doomblade dead in my hand, is bad feelings. It really is bad feelings.
I played Golgari for a while with a playset of Doomblades, and the problem I always found with it was, when do I use it? I never wanted to use it because I always thought just around the corner I could have used this a bit more wisely.
I think that's one thing with removal that is the downside is people who play Magic, especially new players, do fall into the trap of playing removal at the wrong time.
Yeah,
they really do.
Doomblading an Elvish Mystic.
Yeah, that in some situations can be okay, but a lot of the time when you see if you are playing that sort of deck, a Pelucranos drop down, you're thinking, oh, for fuck's sake, why didn't I wait 3 turns to kill, Pelucranos?
Absolutely.
But I mean, I'd in the argument between why this over mainboarding Mogis, because both of them have that sort of weakness against black. Mogis is a creature. It adds fuel to the fire for the creatures.
Simple as that.
Doomblade doesn't. So there we go.
Awesome. So that's your whole deck, dude.
Yeah.
I look forward to playing against it.
Oh, thank you very much.
And this has been Zlatanobojmtg. Thanks very much for watching again. We'll see you soon.